Folks, how are you this evening? That was the jingle from Dom Currie there, which he somehow put my voice into the end of it as well. We'll have another listen to that in a second. But welcome to Mark Say's Creative Differences, a monthly live stream where I talk to writer friends about the little things that make a big difference to their craft and careers, in the hope that we can give readers some insight to the creative process and writers and other creative folk some practical advice they can actually use. I'm Mark Stay, author, screenwriter, and podcaster. And if you're joining us live, feel free to say hello, ask questions in the comments, and take part in the conversation. A big thank you, as always, to Dom Currie for his jingle. So let's have a listen to this again. Hello, folks. See, that's my voice at the end. It could also be the sting for a TV detective series, much like the sort written by my special guest. My special guest's debut crime fiction novel, The Jigsaw Man, was won by HarperCollins, HQ HarperCollins, in a 6-publisher auction. The Jigsaw Man was published in 2021, became a bestseller, has been translated into 15 languages, and has been optioned for TV. My guest is also the presenter of the Conversation podcast, which is a fantastic conversation, brilliant podcast for writers. Definitely check it out. I listen to every episode. She's a brilliant writer and really insightful on the craft and business of writing. It's only Nadine Matheson. Hello, Nadine. How are you? How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you, Mark. How are you?
I'm very good indeed. Welcome to the Creative Differences podcast. Now, what I do with our guests is I ask them to fill out a form before they come on the show, and they just to make sure I've got all the right links and everything. And I ask you to put comments at the end. And it says here, you were in a film with Idris Elba. Please tell me more.
Right, so I'm terrible. So I'll get like these random ideas into my head. And I remember it was New Year's Eve. And I said, I want to make a New Year's resolution to be in a Hollywood film. I joined an extras casting agency. And I got casted for in episode of 24. They did a special in London.
Right.
And then they called me up one day and it's like, oh, are you free? And I was like, for where? We're shooting a film in Greenwich. And I'm like, well, actually, I can walk down to Greenwich.
Nice,
and they said, yes, an Idris Elba film. And I was like, I can definitely walk down to Greenwich and be in this film. Because it's Idris Elba. And I went down there and it was the last time I said never again, because it was December by the river. It was like -2, but probably lower with the wind chill. And we were supposed to pretend it was July in Paris.
Oh my God.
And I think I was there from about 10 o'clock in the morning until 4. And even though they fed you and all this stuff, but I was like, no, I'm done. And I didn't even get to see Idris either.
Oh no.
So after all that. So yeah, but I know I was in the film.
The Kill List is out in paperback. I'm reading it now. I haven't finished it yet, so no spoilers, but I've just got to a bit with a refrigerator. Now, if you know, you know. So, and I love Henley. She's so no nonsense, but her past is coming back to haunt her in this one.
Yeah, I'm so glad you got to the fridge bit. I love it when people get to the fridge bit.
Oh, no, don't open it.
It's so good. No, but her past has come back. So 25 years ago, when Henley was 15, her best friend, Michelle, was murdered. And as well as Michelle being murdered, there were, I think, 5 other people who were also murdered, 5 young people. And a man called Andrew Streeter, he was convicted of the murder. And then fast forward to the present day, Andrew Streeter gets his convictions overturned. But shortly after his convictions being overturned and he should be celebrating, he's also murdered. And it turns out that the real serial killer, who is known as the Burier, has come back and he has a new kill list. So Henley has to deal with him and the old cold case. And so she's back in a serial crimes unit are back.
It's terrific. It's such a fun read. It's such a page turner. I tend to read fiction at about 4:30 in the morning because I wake up, bing, and rather than doom scrolling online, I'll have a book to read. So you're my 4:30 in the morning book, so I read it. And I'm actually want to get up earlier to read and catch up with it. It's so much fun. How much did you know what happened to her as a girl in this one when you wrote the first book? Did you have a whole backstory for her, or are you discovering more about her as you go?
No, I'm definitely discovering more about her with each book, because originally with the first book, The Jigsaw Man, Like all I knew about her in terms of her past was that she found her best friend's body when she was 15. And that's all I knew. So
Right.
when I started to write the kill list, I'm like, okay, I need to come up with a story around finding her friend's body and, you know, who was responsible for the murder. And also I knew that there was a second person as well who was also murdered at the same time. So that's all I knew. So it's kind of like with each book, you're kind of starting from scratch, but you're also building on what you know. But I think that's kind of cool in a way.
It's very cool. It's like a little gift to yourself, isn't it? You're going, okay, here's this little thing, and you could go in any direction with this. So eventually, when you do, because I'm trying to finish a fantasy trilogy at the moment. Finishing trilogies is hard. Who knew? And I'm looking back and I'm going, oh, I've mentioned this character once, and I can make them into something,
Yeah.
you know. So you can sort of, you know, it's like having a bunch of extras, only not freezing their bums at, you know, Greenwich by the Thames, and you can bring them forward. Say you're going to be a star today, you know.
You know what? That's exactly it. And I did the same with I always remember to say there was a character in the Jigsaw Man when I was just writing the first drafts called DC Clark, and I always say DC Clark was there from page 1, and I could describe him. I knew what he looked like. I knew what he didn't like. All these things about him, and then obviously I get signed, working with Matheson. She's like, there might be one too many characters in the unit. You're gonna have to lose DC Clark. And I was like, I don't want to lose him. Like he's family at this point. And then, so I got rid of him, but I was a bit bitter, and I was like, no, I'm going to bring him back. And I brought him back in. I think I brought him back in the binding room. We got a cameo, and I was like, yes, it's like vengeance.
Henley is kind of your protagonist, but you got such a great ensemble. How are you keeping track of them and all their lives? Do you have like a Google Doc, a Scrivener doc, or whatever? Or is it all just in your head?
No, you know what? I'm shaking my head because with each book, I'm like, why haven't I not got like a Bible of all my characters, all my backstory? So I have to end up using the Jigsaw Man, like the original Bible, to go back and remember. Like I couldn't remember what Henley's dad's name was when I was writing the second book. I was like, what's he called? And then it's Richard. So I had to go back to the book. So now I think actually one of the assistants at my publisher, she did a spreadsheet for me, but asked me if I can find it. I don't know what I did with it.
Because what I've started doing is I've got the books on my phone and it's got a search function. So I've been, because if it's in the books, it's canon. That's the other thing. If you've got notes, you kind of think, well, actually, you changed their name during the copy edit or something like that, and it can go all over the place. So,
no, exactly. So that's what I'm using the search function on Kindle a lot.
Nice.
So that helps.
Nice. Because obviously you have this big ensemble of characters, and forgive me because I've heard you tell this story before on your podcast, The Conversation, where someone at a author event mentioned a character and you had no recollection of that character.
Carol. Like I won't forget that. I think I was I can't remember if it was Harrogate, but I was at a festival, and then you did the audience Q&A at the end, and then they started asking about this character and about the whole, what led up to this character being discovered. And I'm sitting there and I'm racking my brain, like you're nodding along, and I'm thinking, who's Carol? I don't remember a Carol. I didn't write a Carol. There's no Carol in the book. And this person is still carrying on. And I'm like, no, she's made a mistake. And all of a sudden I was like, oh, Carol, I do remember Carol. I did kill her. They did have to exhume her body. Yeah, I remember Carol. But you forget because it's so long ago since I wrote the book now. Poor Carol.
Oh, Gavin says, oh, poor Carol. Isn't that a song?
I feel the same way, like when I was doing trials, going to court. It's like you learn everything you need to learn for that trial, and you're all, it's all consuming in that moment. But then as soon as the trial's over, it's like I empty my brain and you move on to the next one. And that's kind of how it feels with the books. Because when I started writing The Jigsaw Man, I think I started writing that in 2017, 18. I can't even do my maths now. It's a long time ago. I was a criminal defense solicitor. And I could only realise that I've been doing it for over 20 years, been working in criminal law. So I've been doing that, and that involved everything. So representing someone from the police station, magistrates court, crown court, through to the court of appeal. So I was doing that. And then 2019, I think just when I signed, I was like, I'll take a break, but then it just coincided with taking a break, and then COVID kicked in. So I then kind of never went back after that. But I still teach the baby lawyers, but I do that freelance. So that's as and when. Yeah, I know. I call them the baby lawyers.
I keep hearing this on the podcast. I'm thinking, how have you not been cancelled? How do they feel about being called baby? Were you called a baby lawyer when you were a baby lawyer?
Yeah, definitely. They're just, but yeah, we used to call baby lawyers baby barristers. So yeah, they don't mind. They don't mind.
What's it like writing about late 20th century period history?
I'm only laughing because in my head, obviously I'm in my 40s. So, and what they say, I still say I'm Gen X, but apparently I'm a Zennial. But anyway, it doesn't seem that long ago to me in my head, like the 90s. It just feels like the other day, but we're talking like over 30 years ago now. So in the one hand, I don't like it being called history because it's my life. But it is history. But it was fun in a sense because it was just kind of looking back at what I was doing back then in like 93, 94, 95, that era, and because even when I was writing the book and doing those flashback scenes, there's a scene when I don't know if you come to it, but there's a scene where Andrew Street is sitting on the wall and Henley can see him sitting on the wall. And when I was writing it, I had to ask myself, well, what is he going to be doing if he's just sitting on the wall? Because if I'm writing that scene now in present day, they're going to be on their phone.
At his phone.
Yeah. watching Netflix. You're doing everything on your phone. You could be writing a book on your phone. So I had to think back and be like, well, what would he have been doing? And the only thing I could think of is he's reading the Evening Standard. Because that's the only thing you could pick up from like train stations or, in the news agents, like if you're on your way home from work. So it was fun going back to the 90s. But also as well, I was like, okay, if there's an emergency, Nash needs to call the police. You're either going to run home or you got to go and find a phone box. And then I was thinking, well, sometimes you'll get to the phone box and the phone box, someone's ripped out the cord from it, so it's not even working. So there's all these little things. So it was fun going back and thinking about music and TV and going back to my recollection of areas like where I grew up and what was, how they looked. And that's also the hard thing as well, because sometimes there's not that much photographic evidence from like a specific point in time, like in the night. So a lot of it was my recollection.
You try and think of what mobile phones we were using then as well, and little things like that. And when did I get my first mobile phone and blah, blah, blah. And it just feels like 5 minutes ago to me.
I got mine in 1998. That's when I got my phone and I got it for Christmas.
I think that's roughly when I got mine. I got it for work because I was a sales rep then. And I set it for some annoying ringtone that I thought would be really funny. And it went off in the middle of a shopping centre. And I've never felt so conspicuous in my life. It's like, well, I'm never doing that again.
And they were such bricks as well.
Oh, God, yeah. And it came in its little case with lots of padding around it to make sure in case I dropped it. Whereas, those Nokias, you could drop them out of an aircraft. They'd still work.
3210s will never die.
That's enough about the past.
Yes.
Let's talk about the future. And I've queued you up for this. I want to make sure you're okay with this. So for the uninitiated, I'll just give you, I'll just run this down for folks. So Meta, which owns Facebook, started training its AI model, which is called Llama 3. Where do they get these names from? And they had to decide what they trained the AI on. And they had discussions with different companies about licensing research papers and books, which they decided was, air quotes, unreasonably expensive and slow. So instead, they chose to use LibGen, which is a piracy site with 7.5 million books, 81 million research papers. And the team at Meta got permission from Zuckerberg himself, apparently, to download the LibGen library of stolen books and papers. Now, this has all been revealed because of a copyright infringement lawsuit against LibGen, which led to Meta's internal comms being unsealed for the case. This is all outlined in an article in The Atlantic. And if you can put a link in the comments, there's the main article is behind a paywall, but you get one free article. We'll also put an Apple News link on there if you subscribe, because you can get through to that as well. And it's The Atlantic, very much in the news this week as well.
They're on a roll, aren't they? They're having
really
a
are.
good week.
So The Atlantic, they posted a searchable database of all the books on LibGen that may have been used to train Meta's Llama 3. And I popped mine in there because, thinking maybe. And They're all on there, including a French edition of Robot Overlords. And I imagine you did that too, Nadine. So how are you feeling about it? I'm sure you have thoughts on this.
Can I swear? I'm so pissed off about it. I'm so pissed off with it because I put my name in there and I didn't think they would use my books. Because I'm thinking I'm not like a massive name or anything. So I thought, yeah, they'll go for the J.K. Rowling's, maybe the Michael Conleys, but they're not, my books are not going to be there. And they're all in there. There were 13, I haven't written 13 books, but there were 13 copies of my book. So it was my self-published book, The Sisters, Jigsaw Man, Binding Room and The Kill List. Then there was French editions, Spanish, German, I think, Czech editions. How dare you? Like, how dare you steal not only my books and, steal all of our books and think it's okay? And it's just, I just find it's just so arrogant and entitled, and I'm still angry about it.
It's the fact that they knew that they thought, well, we could go to companies and ask for licenses. And they said, well, it's unreasonably expensive and slow. They said, it might take up to 4 weeks for these files to come through. But I'm sure, if they'd come to us and said, look, we're going to pay a because if someone wants to use my stuff, they need to, it's my copyright.
Pay for
they have to license it. Yeah, license it. And I can choose whether or not to go for that. That's a choice. Every author gets to make that choice, but none of us have had the opportunity to make that choice.
They took away your opportunity to say yes or no. They just completely took that away from you. And then if it wasn't for that article and it wasn't for that class action suit that's going on in the States, you'd be none the wiser.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, we all knew this was happening, didn't we? We all suspected it, I guess. You know, but like you say, we assumed it was the J.K. Rowlings and the big blockbusters but not all of us.
It's the thing, not all of us. And I think the man's worth 175 billion. I don't know. I could be making that figure up, but he's worth so much. And you think, it's going to be too much because I might say no, but you might say yes. So what? It's not. He doesn't want to pay you.
It's a choice. It's a choice.
But he's used to that, isn't he? He's probably going to sue me now, but he's used to stealing from people. He's on Facebook.
Well, this is it. I'm now thinking of stealing Meta's Facebook code and starting my own social media channel.
Why not?
Fair use. Yeah. I did hear years ago a solution for piracy, which I suggested when I worked at Orion, but they all rolled their eyes at me, which was what you do is, because every publisher has a feed, they have what's called an Onyx feed, and it goes out to Amazon and blah, blah, and all the retailers and all, that's how your metadata gets out there in the first place. And I was saying that with your feed, you should send out a version of your book where the first 100 pages are repeated 3 times. So when someone downloads it as a pirate book and they get 100 pages in, they're already invested, it starts repeating itself. And they go, what? Oh. And every time they download it, it's the same thing. You can do it with music. You can do it with movies. You just, the first hour of a movie, then just have it repeat itself.
Yeah.
So you're getting people enough that they're invested in, like, well, I've got to watch the rest of this or read the rest of this or whatever. But then it also makes the piracy sites unreliable. You don't know what's what. And I said we should just make this part of our flow, so that we send it all out to pirate sites as teasers, if you like. But they all rolled their eyes. But I can't take credit for that. I heard that years ago. And
I think it's a good idea, though.
But yeah. What do we know?
People think, it's okay. Like, I don't understand what the problem is. Like, I'm reading your book. Aren't you happy I'm reading your book? I'm like, no, I'm happy you're reading it, but I want you to pay for it. It's simple as that. Or borrow it from the library. Even better.
Absolutely. Yeah, certainly. It's you can get it for free. It's not like there's not a method of doing it. Yeah. So, it's one of these things. Ironically, seeing it a lot on Facebook as well, which is like relatives sharing images. You go, that's AI. That's some AI crap that you've shared there, but they just don't know. They just don't.
No, they don't.
And I'd leave Facebook, but how do I keep in touch with all my elderly relatives? Because they're all on there.
This is the thing. It's like my family is all over. Hi, family. They're all over. Yeah. And it's like, that is how we keep in touch with lots of them.
Talking about family, I want to ask about, are your mum and dad okay? Because they are. You were all in Hurricane Beryl.
Yeah.
And do you mind if I show a clip?
No, I don't mind. Look. I said we have no roof. We have no roof. I've said it like a million times. Like, I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. It's like whatever you like imagine in your head, it's 100. It's more than that. It's like a million times worse. Oh, that's my bathroom. Always say I can't even describe the sound of the wind because it was nothing I've ever heard before in my life. Destruction. How my parents kept half of their roof, or most of the roof is beyond me. And even when the roof went, I remember, I mean, I can laugh because we were in the kitchen because the storm's like in three parts. You have the first section of the storm where it's going in this direction. And then that passes. Then you have the eye of the storm where it goes completely calm, blue. It's like the most beautiful day ever. And then that passes and the storm it changes direction. So it goes around this way. But in the first half of the storm, we were in the kitchen and then I think one of the kitchen doors flew open and my mum said, "Why is it so bright?" And my dad said, "The roof has gone." And that's when you'll just hear, yeah. And you're like, "Oh yeah, the roof has gone." I have no roof. It's okay. And you're just hearing the wind and you're hearing things breaking. And then the eye passes. So it goes very, very quiet. And I remember I went upstairs and after the living room's upstairs. And I thought, oh, it's okay. There wasn't that much damage. But then the second half of the storm was when all the damage, like, completely ripped off the roof, destroyed, wind, did everything. And one of my cousins said, "Did you think he was going to die?" And I said, "No, I didn't think I was going to die. I just didn't know when it was going to end." And I think that was even worse. It was the not knowing. Yeah, you just don't know. And you're just waiting. And I think it properly started at about 9 o'clock in the morning. And then it didn't stop until about 1:30, 2 o'clock. And you were just bunkered. Yeah. So half of it were in the kitchen. Second half, we had to move into a different room because it's changed direction. So we're in a room that's kind of like in the middle of the house. So it's kind of like it's protected. So there's no window, nothing. And we was there. And then we didn't leave that room till I think till about 3 because the wind is still out there.
Yeah.
So at 3:30, that's when I grabbed my phone and I thought, and I said to you earlier, I think it was, I took so many videos because you're trying to process what's happened.
Yeah.
You've got no roof. Like you walk upstairs, you're like, why am I seeing the sky? Like it makes no sense in your head. Like you're walking up the stairs and you're seeing the sky. But yeah, and just the damage. So luckily, thankfully, like they now got a roof. They got the roof.
They have. Good.
Just before Christmas. I think even last week, they've just got the windows put in last week and electricity. So it's just a really slow process.
In the middle of all that, or afterwards, is there a part of your mind going, "This is going to be really good for writing"?
I'm not even going to lie. I can't even lie. Like I came back from Harrogate. No, I came back from Grenada and I went to Harrogate, must have been about 3 weeks later. About 3 weeks later, I went to Harrogate and I saw my agent and he said, "Are you going to write about this?" I said, "Of course I am." Because they say write what you know. And it's like, how could I not write what I know? And also as well, I think because I had to have therapy when I came back because I couldn't deal with the sound of the wind. And I thought, I can't be living. You can't live in England where it rains and it's windy, and like you can't. Like I'm hiding under the covers. Like you can't live your life that way. And I thought, in a way, it's like I now understand. Like not completely, but I kind of understand Henley's PTSD because I gave her PTSD in the book.
Yeah.
And her going through therapy, it's like, okay, I'm writing about that, but that's kind of more, one using my imagination, and then whatever information you find online by speaking to people. But now I have my own experience. I can kind of put a little bit more into that. But no, I'm definitely going to be writing a book that's got a hurricane in it because I kind of watched Twister though. Twister came out and I was like, I ain't watching Twister. Gonna have to wait. I watched it.
I genuinely don't blame you. It must be so bad. Yeah. It must be so. Well, thanks for sharing that with us, Nadine. I really appreciate that.
That's fine.
What have you learned from talking to so many authors?
I was going to say, like, the one thing I've learned from all authors that everyone's kind of got the same, like, insecurities about their writing. It's like, they never know if they're good enough. They're not sure if this book is like the right book they should be writing. We've all got the same, issues. concerns with publishing and marketing. It's like there's like these universal themes. But I think one thing I've learned is also like definitely it's like not being afraid to kind of just put everything into a book and not feeling that you need to, I don't know, you need to follow trends as also like, okay, I need to be writing this way because, you know, this is what's in the charts. It's like, no, if this is the idea, this is the story that you want to tell, you just need to tell that story and be confident in telling that story and like, don't hold anything back. So I think that's definitely one thing that's definitely something I've learned.
Yes, it's you just tell yourself there's more where that came from. Because I think there's a temptation kind of, well, this is really good. I want to hold this back for the good book. It's no, make this the good book. Make this as good as it possibly can be. You know?
You have to make that the good book. And they just throw, I can't remember who said it. Someone said it to me in the podcast, was just throw everything at it. And I thought, I don't think I throw everything at it. I'm like, no, the next one I'm going to throw everything at it in those initial drafts and that I then send off to my editor. You know, then after that we work on it together. But just throw everything at it and just don't worry about what the charts say.
As well as the Conversation podcast, you've got Substack and the Writer's Verdict. Tell us about, I mean, you're your own social media yourself, Nadine. I mean, this is amazing.
I think I'm very angry these days. It's like, there's so much. No, because there is so much going on in the world. And it's like, I keep saying, like, every day you go to bed thinking, okay, you're going to wake up and everything's going to be kind of sane, and you wake up and it's just something new, and you're thinking, and I feel like as writers, if we put this in a book, our editors would say no, like this is just completely unrealistic. Like, you know, if we go to the Atlantic and Jeffrey Goldberg, the journalist, you know, who would have thought if I'd written in a book, this character is going to be added to a group chat on WhatsApp involving the defense secretary and head of the CIA and national intelligence, I'd be like, no, that wouldn't happen. And like it happened. So I feel like I've got a lot to say and there's so much going on. So I thought, I can pull it in. I found a use for my Substack. So I just throw it into my Substack every Monday.
So it's like it's just almost like therapy again, just getting it out there. It's almost like therapy, and it is fun though, and it's good when you see people like responding to it, whether they agree or don't agree. But it kind of like it encourages conversation, and I kind of feel like it's kind of like a safe place to say what you want to say and be involved. Talking of therapy, writing, look, there are some of your books there, The Binding Room, Jigsaw Man, The Kill List, and their various editions as well. There's one missing from there, Nadine. I saw you the other day talking about something called The Shadow Carver. Now, I'm sure you can't tell us much, but can you tease us with something?
Yeah, it's Henley book 4.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm going to say. No, I'll say more than that.
No, fair enough. If that's all you're allowed to say.
No, all I can say, it hasn't got a cover yet, so I'm looking forward to seeing like the cover concepts, because that should be coming in soon. But all I'll say is Henley book 4. Everyone's back, but not Olivier from the Jigsaw Man, because everyone always asks for Olivier, and I'm like, no, he's not back. So he's not. If you're hoping to see him, he won't be here in book 4. But what I will say, it's very much about revenge. I'm just going to leave it at that. There's a strong theme of revenge going for it, but it is good. I don't know. I wonder if it's my darkest book. I'm not sure. I think I need readers to tell me, because I can never tell.
I think the last time we spoke, you were talking about your ambition one day to do a Batman comic. Are you any closer to fulfilling that ambition?
No, DC are ignoring me.
Oh, DC, come on.
I don't know who I need to talk to, or just someone out there. Can you just please speak to DC? I don't even need to.
Everyone manifest this.
I don't even need to do a Batman. I'd always say, like, any random character who just needs a little bit of a, you know, they need their moment. I'll write it.
Yeah, no, we got to make it happen. We got to make. I mean, Batman. Come on, there's always room for more Batman.
There's always room for more Batman.
Who's your favourite villain? Who would you put him up against?
Let me think. Oh,
you've thought about this more than any other question I've asked.
Scarecrow. I'm going to put him up against Scarecrow.
Let's get on to our regular questions, shall we? I ask these of all our guests, which is a feature I've stolen from your podcast, Nadine.
Is it?
Yeah, well, you asked the same questions. In fact, there was one that you asked, and I never had an answer for it, and I've got one now. So I'm going to have to come back on one day so I can give you the answer, which was the setback in your life. And I go, I haven't had any setback.
Yeah, the challenge.
Yeah. That's anyway, we'll come back to that.
Okay.
What small thing has made a big difference to your creative process?
What I do now, before I just used to write my first draft, and it sounds like a big thing, but it's not, it's a small thing. But it's to write the first draft, and then after that, then do the rewrite, restructure, whatever. That's the second draft. But now I don't. I write up to Act 2, and then once I finished Act 2 in the first draft, that's when I start doing the rewrite. Because now I'm doing the rewrite, I have a clearer idea of how, because I'm fixed everything now, so I know exactly how that last third is going to finish. And I started doing that, I think I did it with the kill list. And I think it was just a timing issue I had, like a personal timing issue. And I thought, I'm not going to get this done if I wait to finish it. I thought, let me just start rewriting it now. And when I did that, I thought, no, actually, this is a better way for me to work. So that's what I do now.
And when you get to that 2/3 point, you just plow on and get straight through to the end.
Yeah. Because I'm not thinking, because when I'm writing that first draft, I'm already thinking, well, I already know I need to change this. I already know I need to change this character, put it in a different location, or I'm just going to get rid of that subplot. I just know these things aren't going to work. And by the time I've done the second draft, I've already done that. And then I said that last third is just, can't I say seamless, but it's a lot smoother. I'm not fixing things.
Yeah. It's so weird because I've just done that myself, actually. I'm talking about trilogies being hard. I got to about 80,000 words on this, and the ending is there, and I'm kind of thinking, I don't. And then I'm writing. I thought, oh, that's what this is about. So I realised thematically what it's about. So I've had to go back and sort of make changes, and now the ending just feels so much, not like you say, not easier, but I know where I'm going now. I know I'm going to do it. Yeah.
You have a much clearer, there's no debris in your path. That's the best way I can put it.
Yeah. It's a lot less cluttered, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
What's the thing that makes you think that you're ready to start writing on a project?
Because I'm a planner. Once I've done the plan, if I haven't done a plan, then I'm like, well, yeah, it's like, if there's no outline, then I wouldn't be comfortable writing, because I know what would happen. I would just get to 20,000 words. And then that would be it. I'll just I don't know what I'm doing with the story. And I say it doesn't need to be a beat by beat by beat outline of the whole story, but it's a general one. And once I've got that in place, I thought, okay, now I'm ready to start writing.
It kind of occurs to me that's the point in the story where you need to start making serious story choices that have consequences. The first 20,000 words, you're introducing people, you're having fun, you're setting everything up, and now it's like, oh, we've got to start making serious decisions now. So it's kind of scary, isn't it? You don't know where you're going.
That's exactly it. Because I always mention, like I mentioned before on my own podcast recently, I was writing this book, and I had a character called Nick. I didn't have a plan for it. And, the beginnings, it's all the setups, that's all the fun stuff. But then I got Nick into that. Nick got released from kitchen. He got released from the prison, and then he went home. No, he's sitting in his dad's house, sitting in his dad's kitchen, and to this day he's still there. Because I'm like, I don't know what to do with you now. I don't know what to do with Nick. So to this day, Nick is still sitting in his dad's kitchen.
I know. What the am I doing here?
How do you know when you're done?
When it's on the shelf. Because I only say that because you quickly learn. I think you have a very romantic view of writing and how the publishing process works, and you just think you write your book, you go send it off to an agent, they sign you, send it off to a publisher, they sign you, and then off it goes on the shelf. And it doesn't work that way. It takes 2 years, and now I'm like, until it's on the shelf, that's when I know that I'm done. But I think generally the other half of that, I know when I'm done, when I just think there's nothing more I can put into this story. Like I've done everything. There's nothing more I can do. There's nothing more I can change. And let's just send it off to my editor, my agent, and just take it from there.
How do you remember that idea that you have at 3 a.m?
I would say I don't. I'm so annoyed with myself, right? Because the reason why I'm annoyed at myself, I had an amazing idea a few weeks ago, and I remember thinking, this is a great idea. When I get upstairs, whatever, I'm going to write it down. And I didn't go upstairs straight away, and I didn't write it down. And I cannot for the life of me remember it. And it just bothers me. But what I do now, I've got my phone for a reason, and there's the notice app there for a reason. So if I do get an idea, I'm like, if my phone's nearby, I'm just going to put it in the notes app or do a voice memo. Yeah. And that's what I do now. Yeah. And I carry a little notebook in my, and I kind of always did, but I think I stopped when, we depended more on our phones. Yeah. Like I always used to have my diary, and I'd always write stuff in there. But now I've always got my little blue notebook in my bag. So something pops in my head, scribble it down.
What's the biggest mistake you've ever made in your writing career?
I don't think I've made it yet. I hope I never make it. But what I was thinking about is, I just thought, if I had to think about mistakes, it was sending off a manuscript to an agent when it was so, when I look back, it was so not ready.
What's the best happy accident of your writing career?
I say that, not reading the small print when I entered the City University competition, because honestly, if I'd read the small print, then I would have read that if you win the competition, you win £2,000, but it's a £2,000 bursary. And I know definitely back then, if I'd read that it was a bursary of the Creative Writing Masters, that I wouldn't have entered, because I'm thinking, I wouldn't have done it, because I'm thinking, well, I'm already working full time, being a lawyer, but I was also teaching in the law school, and I would do that in the evenings. So I'm like, why? I don't want to spend any more time in a classroom. Like, I give up my evenings as in, teaching in a classroom. Why would I want to go back? I was saying, why would I want to go back to school to learn how to write? So if I'd read the small print, I would have not have entered. But because I did not read the small print, I entered and won the competition, did the creative writing MA, and I wrote the Jigsaw Man. So that is a happy, is that a happy accident? I think it's
absolutely. Yeah, it is. Absolutely. Fantastic. Yeah, who reads the small print, honestly? We all sign up to Meta, and it says in there, 17 pages down, we can steal everything you put up here. So, yeah, anyway, enough of that. Is there a character or story swirling around in your mind that you want to write, but you're not ready to write yet?
No, I do. I have this character, and it's kind of the thing, like, I have the character, but she's not fully formed yet, but I already know the story, I got the chrysalis of the story, so I kind of know how it begins, and I know it's in Grenada, and I know it is kind of like a serial murder, but it's not a police procedural, and I know it, and it's in my head, and I'm like, when I have time, I need to just get the outline done, and then take it from there.
Yeah, I love the idea of the chrysalis idea as well. You can just put it over there and wait for it to become a beautiful butterfly one day, you know?
Yeah, I know. It's going to be, it'll be dark, and I want it to be really dark.
Right, a dark butterfly then, yeah.
A dark butterfly. Yeah, a moth. Let it be a moth.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Death's head moth. Richard says, how do you pick names for characters? I really hate that. I put a poll up on Facebook. Who of my friends wants their name in it? Even Mark has found his way into a script. Yes, Richard, you'll be hearing from my lawyers. How do you pick names, Nadine?
Oh God, everything. Sometimes I've used friends' names as placeholders, and then they've just stuck. Right. So that's one way. That's how, like, Henley's husband Rob. That's how he got named. I was using my friend's Rob name as a placeholder. I said I'll change it, but then it just stuck. Sometimes it is literally. Oh no, I've gone. I think most recently I've done Crystal Palace football team. Like, I've gone through their names. I've done the baby book. When you go online and go through the baby. I've done the baby names. What else have I done? I think I did this today. I went through. I was on the Guardian's website, and I'm just going through the names of people who have written pieces. And I was like, okay, I might use their name. Yeah. So I've done it so many ways, so many different ways.
Good answer. I've been meaning to say about Crystal Palace. I've been meaning to tell you for years. My dad reffed a Crystal Palace game.
He did
years ago. Yeah, it was a pre-season friendly, and it was when Steve Coppell was manager.
Oh,
and
God.
he booked like 7 players. It was a really rough game, apparently. So yeah, it was. I've been meaning to tell you about the Crystal Palace connection, because I know you're a big fan.
I am.
With an outline and already rewritten first 2 acts, are your first drafts usually quite tidy and well structured, or are you still making big changes?
They are the opposite of tidy and well structured. Actually, no. I will say they're structured in the sense that I said I stick very closely to that 3-act structure. So yeah, so they're structured in that sense. But in terms of it being tidy, no, I call them, they're so messy. But I always say there's freedom in the mess, because I know that with the second draft, that's when I'm going to be fixing things and rewriting and restructuring. So no, that first draft is not tidy. But what I will say, I said it the other day to someone, was that what I've realized is that the first 3 chapters of my books, they are relatively unchanged from the first draft to what's finally put on the shelf. They very rarely, I mean, they'll change a little bit in the editing process, but fundamentally those chapters 1, 2 and 3, and if there's a prologue, they're pretty much how they are from the very first draft to the end.
What's bringing you joy at the moment, Nadine? It can be books, movies, TV shows, music, games, whatever makes you happy when you're not writing.
I said this, when I wrote it down, I was like, Top Chef. I love Top Chef. It's on Amazon Prime. And I don't know, I think it's like 15 chefs. There it is. 15 chefs or so competing to become the top chef. And this year, conveniently, or I don't know if conveniently is the right word, they're in Canada this year doing their competition. So Top Chef gives me joy. I'm playing Indiana Jones and The Great Circle. Right. I like to think I'm the best gamer in the world. I am not. I'm not saying I'm rubbish. Like, I can complete a game, but I am not doing it at master level.
What was your first console?
See, this is the thing. Our dad was an electronic engineer, and he built our first computer for us. But so the first one would have, yeah, he did. My dad's very cool. Like, he did. But we had, oh my God, what one was it? The Spectrum or the Atari? Just the one joypad and the orange button. You could just play pong on it.
That was Atari, I think. Wasn't it? Yeah,
that was if you can call it a console. It was a console. That was our very, very, very first one. And then after that, I think my brother got an Atari ST. Oh no, he had the Commodore 64. That was it. Yeah, the Commodore 64. Putting the tape in, pressing play, turn it,
adjusting
taking it
the
out.
volume.
You got to turn the tape over to continue loading, and then you can play your game.
The Indiana Jones game is what, because I'm rubbish. I'm totally rubbish. My son is a gamer, and you're a gamer as well. You know, you've got your Switch. George has got this enormous gaming computer. When he turns it on, the lights go dim in the house. And you know, but a game like the Indiana Jones one, it makes me wish I was good at gaming again, because it looks so much fun. It looks better than the last couple of films, at least. Anyway,
oh my God, it's better than the Crystal. What was it? The Crystal Skull. It's a million times better than that. Yeah. You get to kill Nazis, even though they don't call them Nazis. It's weird. They don't call them Nazis in the game. They call them fascists. You're killing the fascists. You're like, oh, okay.
What else is bringing you joy at the moment, Nadine?
What else did I put? Did I say paradise?
Shall I give you a visual clue?
Yeah, because I can't remember what I put on my list. Oh, a fence. I need to explain. I have a new. This isn't my fence, but it looks similar. No, this is generic fence from internet search. Sorry, I have a new fence. I got my fence in my garden replaced, and it gives me joy because I'm like, I have a new fence. I can get my garden, sort the garden out. It's spring. That means, and then it's gonna be summer, and I can spend all my time in the garden. And so, yeah, I didn't think a fence would bring me joy, but I've reached that age, and the fence has brought me joy.
It's very exciting. Do you want me to remind you of the other things you came up with?
My brain's gone.
Yeah, okay, that's fair enough. One of them, sunrises, and if you follow Nadine on social media, you'll see you go for your morning walks. You put some beautiful photos up.
I do. I always say it's more like it's a matter of life or death, as opposed to like I'm doing it just for the fun of it. Because, you know, as writers, we spend so much time at our desks. You know, you're just stationary. And I feel like I need to move. So I'm always better if I move first thing in the morning, because I live near the river. I can walk by the river, and it's just getting to that time. Well, even before seeing the sunrise. and it's just nice seeing the sunrise over the river. So yeah, that always gives me joy. Yeah.
No, they give me joy. I enjoy those photos. Funnily enough, a friend of mine puts up similar photos at the same time. So you're obviously walking past each other as well. So if you ever see a grumpy man called Terry walking past, that's him.
That's Terry. I'll give him a wave.
And finally, you mentioned Homicide: Life on the Streets, which I believe you rewatched.
Homicide: Life on the I get so excited about this program. Homicide: Life on the Streets. I always say you had to have Homicide: Life on the Street in order to have The Wire. And Homicide: Life on the Street.
They're both David Simon, aren't they? It's David Simon, what he did before. Yeah.
And Homicide, he he based it on a book, and I think it was like 92 when it came out. Right. So I was 15. I don't know what I was doing up watching it, but I started watching it at 15 and I was just hooked on it. It's so good. And I think in a way it kind of I never thought about it before. I think it kind of does remind me of the Serial Crimes Unit because, they're so committed to their cases, but they all have you see the group. They have their strong individual stories and you're seeing how these cases affect them, not only at work, but outside also. And then also, so you have these, it says like pockets of darkness that you have when you're watching it. So it's not just all, blood and guts and shooting down criminals. There's light, you can find light moments, but when the dark moments come, they're dark. And it's on Sky Atlantic. They should pay me for this, actually. It's on Sky Atlantic repeating, so you should watch it.
No, I never saw it, and when you recommended it, I thought, oh, it's David Simon, and that's a young Andre Breuer, who he looks so young there. And I read somewhere there's one episode that has Andre and Vincent D'Onofrio, which is essentially like a 2-man show. D'Onofrio's playing a guy who's dying. Yeah, so I love stuff like that. So yeah, I might be jumping in and checking that out. So yeah, thanks for that. It's a great recommendation. Great recommendation. Thank you. I'm going to quickly run through the things giving me joy. The Studio is another great show from Apple TV. It's a really funny show about Seth Rogen's character. He's become the head of a Hollywood studio and he's wrestling with the egos of colleagues, actors, producers, directors, writers. The first couple of episodes are so funny. There's they've got some cameos from Martin Scorsese, Charlize Theron, Steve Buscemi. Regular cast has Catherine Hahn, Catherine O'Hara. And if you've ever wondered how terrible movies get made, this will give you the answers. It's really, really good. The other thing that's given me joy at the moment is Lego. At the risk of sounding like an 8-year-old, I got some Lego vouchers for my birthday last month. And with them, I bought this wonderful medieval village set. The other thing I've been doing while I've been doing Lego is I've been listening to Classic FM at the Movies, which is its own digital channel. It's a digital radio station that just plays movie music and ads, but there are no annoying DJs. It's just one track after another, interrupted by ads. It's a bit first base in its choice. If they play the theme from American Beauty one more time, I may spit. It's become my go-to choice for music when I'm doing admin in the afternoon. So I absolutely love it. And for those of you looking for love, Classic FM, one of the ads that came up, they've launched a dating service, Classic FM Romance. Anyway, the other thing that's been bringing me joy are Comic-Cons. Last month, I've been to Crawley, Peterborough, Milton Keynes, Bournemouth. I've absolutely loved it. I'm kicking myself for not doing this sooner. I'm on a mission this year. I'm doing as many Comic-Cons as possible. So a few dates for your diary. On the Saturday 5th, I'm at Herne Bay, just up the road from here, and they've got an actual Doctor Who. Peter Davison's going to be at that one. On the 6th, I'm going to be at Maidenhead. On the 13th of April, I'm going to be in Luton. Easter Sunday and Monday, I'm going to be at Fort Amherst in Chatham. That's going to be fun. I'm in a cave for that one. On Saturday 26th, I'm at Banbury. And on Sunday 27th, I'm going to be in Southampton. So do come along if you're anywhere near there. And then looking ahead to May, on Saturday 10th of May, I'm going to be at the Beyond the Book Festival in Brighton. They got a fantastic lineup of authors there, including headliners Dorothy Coomson, Ellie Griffiths, Ruth Ware, and then little old me, bottom left-hand corner, you can see a copy of The Corn Bride there. That's me. I'll be there. I'll be moderating a panel discussing world building with Natasha Pulley, Adam Simcox, and Zuleika as Afzal. My apologies for getting that completely wrong. I did rehearse it. So yeah, do come along to that. It's going to be an absolutely brilliant day. 18 authors, loads of great events as well. There's agent pitching, and there's it's going to be really, really good day. So pop down to the Brighton for that at the Beyond the Book Festival. Again, I'll put links in the show notes so you can check that out. Twice a month, I run live sessions on Zoom, the Green Room, which is where you can ask me questions about the craft of writing, your working process, the business of publishing. Sessions of fun, informal, chatty. They've all been really, really good fun so far. The next session is on Thursday, 10th of April. That's a Q&A session. And then Wednesday, 23rd of April is a 200-word workshop session. That's where you send me 200 words of your work in progress. We'll talk about it. We have a critique. We have a really good fun with it. We've just done one on writing tension, which was really, really good fun. So I'll pop a link to the Green Room, and it's on Ko-fi. It's all done through Ko-fi in the comments, so you can check that out. There's no long-term commitment. You can just pop in and out as you want. And this month, The Corn Bride was released. It's out. A huge thank you to everyone who read it, bought it, downloaded it, borrowed it from a library, and to anyone who shared their thoughts online with a review or a rating. It really makes a huge difference. And you can order it from all good retailers, but if you want a signed paperback, then pop over to the Woodville Village Bookshop and you can get signed copies of that and all my stuff over there. So do check it out. Now, I really hope you've enjoyed this episode of Creative Differences. You'll find all the links we've discussed in the show notes for this episode on the episode's webpage at marksdaycreativedifferences.com. A huge thanks to Emily for production assistance, to Kai for the edit, and Dom Currie for the jingle. Shall we hear the jingle again? Let's do that again. Hello, folks. And a very special thank you to my special guest, Nadine Matheson, and to everyone who's joined us live tonight. If you're listening to the audio podcast or rewatching this on Facebook or YouTube, thank you very much. But we really missed you. And you're more than welcome to join us next month with our special guest, which is Tracy Buchanan. It's going to be on Tuesday, 22nd of April, 8 p.m. BST. Note the shift to British summertime. Clocks go forward in the UK this Sunday on Mother's Day, which seems unusually cruel. But Tracy writes really gripping thrillers that delve into the darkest corners of family, psychology, forensic investigation. Her books explore secrets, lies, dangerous choices people make when pushed to the edge. But also, as a child, she crafted stories using cutouts from her mum's Littlewoods catalogues. So this is going to be great. Tracy also runs a really great writers group on Facebook. She's a brilliant advocate for authors. It's going to be a really lively one. So pop that date in your diaries now, 22nd of April, 8 p.m. BST. And if you've enjoyed this podcast, things like ratings, reviews, they all make a massive difference. Finally, I popped over to Apple Podcasts this week, which I haven't looked at for ages because I use Overcast. A whole bunch of 5-star reviews. Thank you very, very, very much. So, Nadine, thanks so much for joining us today.
Oh, thank you. And a blast.
It's been absolutely brilliant. So, what's coming next from you?
You know what? I'm in a very funny little period where I don't actually have anything to do, technically. So I've done my outlines for Henley 5 and 6. So I've also done an outline for a standalone. So I'm just waiting for my editors to come back and decide which one I'm going to do next, whether it'll be Henley 5 or a standalone. And I'm just coming up with different ideas. So I'm making the most of like my downtime at the moment. And finding, you know what, when I saw your Lego, I was like, that's exactly what I was talking about in my Substack about having a joyful hobby. Like, Lego's your joyful hobby.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm a proper little Lego nerd. Did I see also you're doing, is it Crime in the City? Is that
Oh,
did
I'm
I see you
doing
in
Capital. Yeah, I'm doing Capital Crime.
Capital Crime. Sorry,
June.
yes, Capital
Yeah, I'm
Crime.
going to be interviewing Linwood Barkley and Andrew Child. So that's going to be fun.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, that will be great. I love Linwood. He's a lovely guy. I used to sell his books. He's fantastic.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, Nadine,
That's me.
thank you very much. And thank you everyone for coming along look, Richard says, thank you, Nadine. Really cheered me up.
Oh, I'm glad.
Like I say, such a positive force. Do check out The Conversation. It's a brilliant, brilliant podcast. And until next time, folks, happy writing, reading, and being different. And let's see if I can play that jingle one last time. Hello, folks.
It's a great jingle.